my first video with this new Samsung camera. I thought, well, I'm thinking and pondering strategies for changing the massive status quo of climate change. You know, I've realized that no matter what you say, what words you use, or anything, you're going to get an emotional reaction when you start talking about climate or carbon reduction or anything out there, because there, as this one email said, there are millions of people and thousands of organizations that are all saying they're about stopping climate change, including blocking pipelines and God knows what. But they're all very emotional about their position, and they're also very ignorant. They have no way of knowing, they never have had any way of understanding all the moving parts that go into an economy. First of all, they don't associate climate and the economy. They have no ability at all to correlate the dozens of moving parts that all work together to create anything that's lasting and stable. Well, what I decided is, you know, rather than trying to write it down and get into bitching and arguments, because anybody can criticize, I've realized maybe we can take the emotion out of it by creating it as a game. A game when the prize could be $1 trillion divided among the top 100,000 people that actually get the game right. But the purpose of the game is, I understand games is to win your way up a ladder of knowledge where you have to understand one thing, and then you have to take that and understand another thing, and you keep adding the understandings into a stack of all the things that you have to understand in order to progress to the next level. And all of those things and how they need to balance in order to get to where you can see the victory. You can see how we can transform our global economy, reduce carbon, increase our global GDP by 50%, by empowering and creating economies with people, indigenous people, who at the moment don't even count because they don't have money. But if we help put in business and we use power to help do that, and then we regulate the governance of the business to look more like private business models, these people, and I have very specific things in mind, they can start making a fortune. And if we do it so that, like American Ag Co-ops or whatever, where everybody has their share, and everybody has fair access to feed, seed, fertilizer, and what they need to farm, and everybody has fair access to markets. Well, all of a sudden, there's 100 million people in Africa that could be growing drawdown crops. Not only will they be making money, but they'll be growing crops that will actually take CO2 out of the air, whether it's trees, nuts, alfalfa, grass, but and using regenerative practices on the grass to recarbonate the soil, and everybody wins. But right now, the elements that are required to make that game win are invisible. They're not in anybody's mind. In fact, nobody even knows they're missing. But we do. And part of the game is to help people discover that they're missing, but also discover that they are in fact there. They're possible. It can be done. It just hasn't been thought of yet. But, it's not a but. What I've finally realized is to stay out of the arguments and stay out of everybody claiming their turf and their marketing area and so forth. Let's turn it into a game. And it's a game that people can win, and we need to make it a game that's fun to play, that people feel really good when they're victorious, and victory is a matter of discovering how to understand one more piece of the puzzle to move up the ladder. So by creating a really fun game that also creates profit as the game succeeds and progresses is something I'm pretty excited about, and I'm really looking forward to getting feedback from people I share this video with regarding this concept of let's make it a game. Technology has evolved to a point. This is how we can use technology, is the technology is indifferent. It's not emotional. It can't do what we need people to do, but it's indifferent, and we can structure the technology to understand and help guide the people to understand. And we can turn it into a technology play, but to win in the technology, you're going to have the soft things like the economic algorithms, the human personality algorithms, capitalism, human nature, all of these different things that are very real, but they are not digital. But we can structure the digital world and the digital game so that you get an advantage at each level by understanding all of the non-digital things that do impact your ability to move to the next level. So this is just an idea of how we might create a starting thing. Is just designing the game will allow us to understand ourselves. And as we understand ourselves and we create a game that people can win, we'll also be designing a new story and a new economy that will actually be designing itself. It's a self-correcting thing. As we design the levels, we'll run into roadblocks. And to get past the roadblocks in the game design, we're going to have to overcome and understand each of those little blocks. And so we get a twofer. One, we create a new economic strategy for a sustainable and habitable planet with more prosperity than we can currently imagine. But two, we create a fun game that will allow almost anybody from 6 years old up or younger to understand and learn how to win. And in order to win, they'll also understand how the world works and how it can work different than it is currently working. So that's my big thing that I've been thinking about today. And I'm really interested to get you guys' reaction on this. Take care.